Alright, this is Nefarious Jodel here, and I'm going to analyze a blind pick game I just played, and I thought it was really interesting, because there were so many things going on, and so many different skill levels in one game, that it's like, I think I can analyze a lot of things here. There's a lot of material to go off of. Alright, let me just skip ahead to the interesting parts of the game. Let's see. Alright. So I arrive in lane, and let's just see when the first death happens. I guess that's just around this area. And I haven't been looking at bot lane because I was too busy laning on my own. And really, teleport play is obviously not really a thing, level 1 or 2. Now let's look at this. Because the Alistar is about to give first blood away, and the Ezreal was complaining about it for the rest of the entire game. Alright. So, Ezreal gets hit. That's fine. Brand stun, I mean, that couldn't possibly have hit, but sure. So they get the level 3. Alistar is now looking for an engage, I think. They land the knock-up. Alistar pussyfoots around. Finally goes for it. Gets it, oh! The W get cancelled by the flash. Alright, let's look at that one more time. So, first of all, when they got level 3, here, he could have just gone for an engage without the auto attack, I feel like, because the brand is almost half health. He only has 330 health, and Alistar has Ignite, so I don't think they need that. Ezreal should be looking right about here. He should be stepping up, prepared to E to this side, and actually kill the guy with Alistar backing him up. So instead he goes for the flash outplay. And here, he needs to be very quick, and he walks way too far. He was already here after, so obviously now he's just going to knock back on the flash. And now he doesn't have flash to back it up. And the Ezreal has heal, but he doesn't use it. He doesn't use it to save the Alistar. So Alistar misplayed that slightly, and Ezreal completely blundered in terms of positioning and in terms of not using heal. So that's very interesting to watch. In the meanwhile, I've been knocked off my feet. Let's take a look at what happened in that regard. So, these corrosive charges are gonna hit me, and that's kind of sad. Alright, well, I fuck up that CS. Alright, so not overall pretty bad mechanics here. But I'm getting some CS. And just waiting it out, trying to wait for the teleport. I know I can't get my core items in one go, but that doesn't matter. You don't have to carry every single game by just getting the team up first back. I'm getting enough CS to sort of survive against Urgot. Now, I hadn't analyzed the matchup beforehand because I didn't really know Urgot's abilities. Now, since then I've looked up what Urgot does and actually realized what kind of a champion it is. I really can't believe that I never really looked him up, but really he got reworked and was almost never played in my games. So that's something I've caught up with just now. And the idea is Urgot is just like Nasus and Sion, I guess, to a lesser extent. They're the kind of champion that can win almost any 1v1 in the game. But they can't move. They have no mobility. They have no way to create map pressure. Right, they're not like a Shen or a Kled or a Gangplank who actually have ability to apply pressure elsewhere. Now, Elai is just so obvious, right? Like, you can notice that she's just way too strong for any 1v1. So what you do is you just try to dodge around her. Like, with Kill, you can try to perma-shove her in. With Kled, you can try to at least get both lanes shoved back and forth and then just roll mid, right? You can, like, out-pressure these champions. And eventually the question is, how well can they split push and how well can you stop her while she's splitting, right? So really, just my approach to the matchup was stay in lane all game long and try to 1v1 Urgot, which worked in the first few levels, but then stopped working after a while. This is a match I lost mainly in game knowledge. Very annoying that... See, here I realized that I can't just walk up to the guy and walk through the minion, so I should have probably pinged him back, because this is a stupid gank. We're not gonna get an Urgot flash. Best case scenario, we don't die to an Echo counter gank. So really not a good decision here. Echo could have been sitting in his brush. I really should have pinged him back. I'm really staggered by the lack of proactivity. I guess because I don't know the champion, I have no idea, like, can we get him? Can we? This was just extremely well played. Look at this play, look at this play. Alright, so this is the moment I'm most proud of in the entire game. So I woke up. So he gets knocked away. And what I do now is I flash shotgun blast to get the shotgun in the right direction and get enough for Skarl. So that I can then QE right on top of him. I really think that's a pretty cool play. Alright, so that's at least, I mean, you know, you have to analyze the things you're doing wrong, but sometimes it's nice to look at a play that was really good and say, oh, that's pretty good. Just to keep the morale a little bit high, you know? You don't want to just self-deprecate for half an hour. Alright, and this I'm pretty sure I can survive. I just walk away from it as soon as I see the teleport. I had to auto and then Q him, and I hear an alt chat I said something like, ah, I had that, fuck my life. That's unlucky, but I still got the team up now. Thanks to that outplay, I actually killed the guy. Alright, so I'm not level 6 yet, so I understand my decision to stay, but I'm not really thinking about... Right now, my thoughts are how can I kill him again. My thoughts are not how can I shove in this wave and then gank for the fizz. Which is kind of silly from my part. I need to shove this wave in as fast as possible. I want to go in for like a cheeky outplay like this. Which actually works. Alright, so I don't really know if he could have contested the wave, considering the amount of health he had. But things are going to go haywire for me rather sooner than later. So I want to see if I can spot if Jax ganked this lane at some point. So what do I do now? I think I should just... Let's see. Echo's red buff is up, but he's like a gold player that doesn't take his buffs and spawn, so he's actually top lane, which is very unpredictable and strange. Like, there's no reason for him to be top lane right now against Kled with ult, right? Because it's really hard to catch someone with ult and E. I go in on him, and then I notice that the Echo is coming afterwards. So I'm trying to find a spot to actually ult. This Echo, if this Echo W was good, but he's a bad player, right? But if this was good, I was already dead now. So let's see, I try to weasel my way through, he misses the Q. And then I sort of bounce against him with my ult and get that extra movement speed. So, pretty well played on the escape, but I don't know, I guess I shouldn't presume that people take their buff and spawn when they're gold level players, because really these people are not trying to do this to randomize their patterns, right? They're just doing this to try and get a gank going. They don't care about the red buff. If Jax was paying attention here, he would go towards the Echo red buff right now and ask. I guess that's not possible because the Ezreal just died. But yeah, that's what you give up. What you're potentially giving up here is the red buff, Infernal Drake, and Krugs, which is why he should have never done this. But it didn't matter in this game. It'll matter in some games, right? That's why it's a bad decision. Alright. So I also don't understand my decision. I'm getting slow pushed in by Urgot. Instead of either clearing the wave or actually backing off the wave, I decided to go all in on the Urgot, who is full health and is a juggernaut. So going all in on full health juggernauts, generally not advisable. There's no... Maybe if it was a Kenny, I could still not get that 100 to 0. So it's just a stupid ass decision. It's really stupid. Alright, I dodged that by just hugging the wall. Then I QE. See, some of my patterns are getting better, but some of the things I'm doing are just despicable. I have to fill in the gaps, right? When I look at this, it's not just like, okay, everything is bad. It's just a whole couple of patterns that really are game-changing that I'm not doing appropriately. Alright. So I'm clearing these waves. My teleport's about to come up, so it's very simple. Just clear the wave, teleport, clear another wave, shove, help fizz. You know, it's not too complicated. I can't shove this on my own right now with the health I'm on, obviously. But I have that TP coming up. And I wasn't really thinking like this during the game. I wasn't like, my TP's coming up, he's a juggernaut, I just need to shove him in. Right, I wasn't really analyzing the game, which you should do in every game. Even if it's a blind pick game, even if it's an ARAM game, you have to do pre-game analysis. And whenever you forget, punish yourself, right? Be like, oh shit, why the hell didn't I do that? And eventually it'll become second nature. So this is just like, I don't know why I do this. Like, look at this. I'm on less than half health against a juggernaut. What do? A, farm the minions on the turret and back. B, go all... Like, look at this engage. What? I'm like... And the funniest thing is I didn't even see during the game. Like, where did I go wrong? It's like... Urgot has an ultimate ability that I know about, and I just ignored it. I'm just pretending like he's a level 5 Urgot. And I can just trade him, get the Scarl back. Yeah, I just hoped I could get Scarl back. So I understand how I sort of did that in my mind, but the knock-up... Okay, this is interesting. Level up! So I proc my W on this, which means I can't get Scarl back in time. That's the biggest... That's not even the biggest flaw, but that's one of the big mistakes that I did here. And I have no idea how this works. Mercy. I have no idea. I need to try that out in Sandbox because there's 2 casts to it. So this is Fear Beyond Death. It's not annoying at all that there's actually like... Ah, so I've already been hit, and it takes 4 seconds. So it executes you when it's below 25% health. And you can just instantly recast it when someone's under a certain percentage health. So this... that you see right here, that's actually his ultimate on melee range. So I didn't understand the gem. So there's a couple of things, right? I didn't understand his abilities. I didn't understand his archetype. And even beyond that, it seems like I was fundamentally unaware of how Kled plays the game, and I was just trying to get another kill. Right? Overall, just very bad awareness, very bad sort of mental fortitude to stay calm and analyze the game, right? In that moment, like, what should I be doing? What should I be shooting for in this matchup? Solo kills or shove and like go elsewhere? Because that's the funny thing, right? Even if you have 100 kills, it doesn't mean you should stay in lane and get 101th kill. You should expand that lead with something like Kled. It's not a Nasus and it's not a fucking Urgot. So Jax comes in. Is that gonna go well? Well, here I considered telling him why this was bad. Because if... I'll just give you a second here. I already gave the answer of what I think about it, right? So that's not like... So what should a Jax do here, assuming that he might be able to get the Urgot, considering he used alt flash and he has no TP? Well, no TP just makes the reward higher, right? So, okay, he walks in. Now what should you do? Look at the position. Look at the position. Here's Jax. Here's Urgot. How could Urgot possibly escape? There's two directions, right? Here or here. Now, if he goes here, he doesn't know where the fizz is. Maybe he saw the backs and maybe he knows. Maybe he has an intel on that. But he'd have to go all the way to this bomb plant. It's going to be very hard. Can he do it? I don't know. Maybe he can. But at least you have to walk up and force him to commit to either directions. And once he's committed to either directions, you can actually stun him if he walks this way. And if he commits to this direction, you have to Q and then walk on top of him. And you're literally directly on top of him, very far away from any sort of escape, namely the blasting plant or the tower. Right? Sorry, this tower. Right? But what he does is he charges his stun here and literally uses his one and only gap closer to move completely opposite to his direction of escape. Right? If you're parallel, if someone's running along this way and you're chasing behind them, your gap closer closes the distance between you and your enemy. But here, your enemy has to walk by you anyway. So you can just literally just walk up to him and he can't stay under this turret, right? He has to walk against you, right? He's going to literally help you out and move in range because here's his turret. So what you should do is you should just walk up to him and either he walks past you and you can stun and you can finally someday Q, right? Or he's going to commit to this direction and you can Q on top of him here and he's way further away from anything that can cause his escape. So it's important to... The reason I analyze these things is because the better your feel is for what other players should be doing, what every single champion in the game should be doing, the better you can evaluate quickly what your response should be, right? For example, if you know the Jack's making rookie mistakes, you can figure out if you should spam ping him and guide him, you know, like hold his willy all throughout the game, or if you should let him do his own thing, right? If they're bad players, you need to help them out. Those kind of things can really make a difference, right? Because generally pings do matter, and really if you look at how many people listen to them, even if you send them to the grave, it's really amazing. So you really need to like figure out how good all these players are, and you know, perhaps in a team fight, it's especially important to just instantly spot if someone wastes some abilities. For instance, the Echo, he blundered and it caused my escape, but I didn't realize it. Now that didn't do anything in the present moment, but in a team fight, if it's your Echo and you just saw him waste his abilities, you might be like, oh, I need to back off here because Echo doesn't have any abilities anymore. Those kind of things are just, they're sometimes hard to spot because you're making mistakes that do not impact your gameplay at all at that moment. Like, me observing this Jackson, observing his mistakes, has nothing to do with my gameplay and my KDA. But it's a mistake not to observe his mistake because you want to be able to evaluate his skill, and you have to train yourself to be able to do that in team fights and important situations. Alright, let's keep going. So, I'm 2-1, still a pretty big lead. I've already proven to myself that I'm an idiot. Now what will I do? Like here, this is already something I don't really understand. Can I fight an Urgot? I don't know because I've never played that champion. I've never played against that champion. It's completely unknown to me what his power spike is. I could get some intel off of op.gg. You know, you can always spot the win rates for champion in a particular time slot. That should give you some indication whether something skills well or poorly, and just in general how strong it is. And then take into account the archetype. You just kind of make an evaluation like that. So, Echo is clearing his blue buff. Jax just finished clearing his red buff. So this actually makes sense. This time, the actual position of what you'd expect is the same as his position in the game, right? So this time he's not going to the Drake while his buff is up, right? Which at least wouldn't be completely retarded. Actually, that would make some sense, right? He could leave this blue buff up and go do Drake first instead. But yeah, so I guess it's a bad example, but my point is clear, right? My point about like Echo is high variance, right? His predicting him is not very useful because he might do things that are not beneficial to himself, right? So that means you should not predict him as strongly, and in general, the benefit for your team is that he's going to make poor decisions, right? So you shouldn't be like, hey, but if I can't predict him, doesn't that mean he's playing well? No. That's not how it works. Because if he gives up the Infernal Drake, even if you can't predict him and therefore like stay under turret, that means you don't die, and we get an Infernal Drake for free, right? So you still get stuff. It's just if you don't adapt your predictions accordingly, then you're gonna die. So I'm doing this little ultimate thing. Look at this. This is a very important situation in the game that I pondered on during the game. So I Q him. He does not flash here. So here I didn't know that Echo was coming. I mean, I find it strange that he did this. I guess he did his Gromp before blue buff. That's kind of alright. I'd say you're in a little bit more of a hurry, but sure. So he finished his Gromp and he's coming. So Jax has QE, walks up to him, charges his stun, misses the stun, doesn't Q in, and now we're getting chased down. And what happens is that I think I survive, or I get hit by the ult. I'm not sure here. Alright, so that's very interesting. That is actually something I didn't realize. I was in the game, I said to myself, either I really misevaluated that, and I want to look at that in the replay, or the Jax didn't use his abilities. It felt to me like the Jax was in range for QE and just did not use it, while the Urgot was already like getting knocked back by my Q. And it's exactly true. This time I was right. I've been a retard a couple of times, but this is true, right? Right, and now I stay instead of teleporting. That's just me being tilted. Like, I have no idea. Why would I even do that? Alright, so let's look at this. Brum, brum, brum. Yeah. I don't know what the range on that is. What is the range on this ability? So, as soon as I got hit by the corrosive charge, I died. Which means I just can't stay, because if I get hit by corrosive, I die. It's that simple. Alright. Because this early game was the most important, where I realized I completely screwed up. I have 600 health here. I have 600 out of 1700. So I said with 1800 health, would you be able to kill me? It's like, yeah, it would almost kill you. But that's actually not true. If you're not below 25%, it does 0 damage. You can't even cast it again, right? And 800 is almost half my health, so it's not even close to being close. So that's just him being a retard, but sure, right? Like, it's probably not on purpose. So here it's like, I think I should get this CS. I feel like I should have kited on this side of the turret, because I have more mobility here. But yeah, overall, just a very stupid decision. Sure, you can always argue about a micro positioning, but really it's not about micro positioning. It's about the decision to stay. Because even with the micro, he could have still hit this, right? He can tank a turret shot or 2 or 3 or 4. So really just the decision to stay was the blunder. You have to always, when you see two mistakes that kind of lead to your death, you have to always find a root cause, right? Like, sure, the misstep here is what actually killed me directly, but it has a root cause. The root cause is that I stayed with a very low health against a Juggernaut while I had TP. Now, after this, the game, I mean, you know, stuff happened, but I'm not too interested in what happened. I kind of, when I went through the game, I realized what the most clutch moments were, and I've been over them already. So that's my analysis for now. That's how you go 2-0 and then throw your lead, just by like. So I've gone over a lot of things, including micro positioning, predicting junglers based on skill level, right? Let's see. I talked about the archetype of Urgot, the champion knowledge of Urgot, like how it does his ult work. You know, I should look that up before the game. I haven't mentioned that. Gonna mention that now. I should have done that. What more, right? Like I seem to fundamentally misunderstand what Kled's about, right? I just completely seem to forget that I should be shoving and then roaming instead of trying to kill a Juggernaut. So that's it. That's kind of what I wanted to go over, and I'll see you guys in the next one.